Margaret Koolman, Soul Astrology. Looking at the new moon chart for the 10th of April, new moon in Aries. It's a strange looking chart in the sense that in order to show us how many planets are gathered together at this point at the latter part of Aries, the program spreads them out a bit. So what we actually have is that the moon, the sun at 20 degrees Aries, nearly 21, then Mars at 22 and a bit, Venus at nearly 24, are all in a bunch. And the lines of connection that are pointing at Aries are actually pointing at Uranus, which is 9 degrees Aries. So the bunch in the latter part of Aries is not connecting to the rest of the pattern. Interestingly, if we go up into Pisces, we see that Mercury at nearly 25 degrees Pisces is also not connecting to the rest of the pattern. So on a personal level, it looks as though the Aries thing will be happening, which is the discovery of oneself. It's the drive, the energy that leaps out of the ocean of Pisces into an understanding that it exists. Mercury still being in Pisces may be that our communications, our thought processes are still swimming around, being a little uncertain, not totally self-aware. The self-awareness comes, the Aries self-awareness, through our relationships and through what we do, the Venus and the Mars. With the Sun and Moon together on top of, as it were, that Venus and Mars, it's as though this is the important thing about the coming 4 weeks. It is the latter part of Aries, so we have already been experiencing Aries over the last week or so, more than a week. This time seems to be about pulling that self-awareness out of the sea of Pisces, out of the mass of human reaction patterns, the fears, the irritations, the angers that are just generally going on. The other pattern in the chart involves all the outer planets, that is to say Jupiter, Saturn, and then Chiron, Uranus, Neptune and Pluto. They are all in relationship with each other, as the aspects, the lines show, not all comfortable. Jupiter being at right angles to Chiron is still suggesting that there are many ideas as to how we could solve problems, but also many problems surfacing. The Chiron, Neptune, Pluto and Saturn holding that steadiness, the drive, the underneath current of force towards transforming our experience of the world. The square, that is the red line, and the brown line, the quincunx, to Uranus from Pluto and Saturn, suggests that there's still an awkwardness about being an individual with so many people in the world having difficult experience, that it feels perhaps selfish, that we may feel guilty at turning our attention on ourselves and our own life experience. But the quincunx, the brown line, is still telling us that it is through our own experience, our own personal experience, and being able to reach beyond it to other people who are also having similar experience, that we can actually help them, that we add our understanding to the discovery of solutions that will be worldwide. And perhaps Jupiter is suggesting that we're still in the throes of talking about it rather than doing anything about it, or doing enough. But the point may be that we do have to have that personal experience to come from, that just doing things in the wonderful Aquarian way from a distance where you see how it all is, isn't actually enough. We need to have our own personal take on things. Everybody's individual experience is what adds together to make solutions. It's out of the experience of necessity that we realise what's needed. So, let's deal with Aries. We've all got Aries somewhere in our charts. There may not be a planet in Aries in your chart, which simply means that these qualities are not given energy in your particular life, but it doesn't mean they're not there, and they will surface as attitudes and reactions to certain things happening, depending what house it's in. So we all have this need to know ourselves as individual beings, individual expressions of life's energy. The drive to find out who we are is what makes Aries different from the other signs, and depending on the other characteristics you have, that drive will show up as different sorts of behaviour. I'm saying a lot more than this in the new moon letter that I send out and eventually goes onto my website. But Aries' drive can show up sometimes as a huge impatience, sometimes as intolerance, sometimes as arrogance, but it doesn't come from those positions. It just looks like it from the outside. And sometimes we know that, or we come to understand that we are like that. We think we are like that because that's what people tell us. And because we judge that in others, we'll be judging it in ourselves. What we need, while there is this emphasis on Aries, is a tolerance with ourselves and our own behaviour. When you have that tolerance, when you accept how you feel, you can go in and discover how much of your feeling is as a response to what's outside you, and how much was there in the first place anyway, just looking for something to trigger it into expression, to somehow shift the feeling within your space, within your body. Let your organs have another round of secreting their own hormones, rather than being stuck in the one position. There is this sense or a naturalness about expressing emotion, allowing the flow and therefore the change. It doesn't always work. And it doesn't work when we're hooked on to some belief or judgment about the outside or ourselves. That's what tends to keep the emotion the same, and it doesn't matter how much you express it, it doesn't change. This recognition of how much belongs to us is there from our history maybe, and how much is triggered truly by what's outside, that difference, recognizing that difference, is essential before we actually engage in helping the outside. If we don't see the difference, we're going to be putting our own solutions onto other people where it may not be appropriate. The nodes of the moon in the chart are, it takes a while to change, still coming from Taurus and going towards Scorpio. Coming from Taurus means that it's through the body and our connection with the outside that we find strength and support. A connection with the outside, which is a relationship. Taurus is ruled by Venus, which is about the energy of relating, finding the comfortableness between ourselves and something or someone else. So what can happen when you're focused on your inner experience and trying to sort it out is that you can go back into just how it feels and surround yourself with the past, as it were. Just find yourself down a cul-de-sac of emotion, and it can cut you off from the present moment very effectively. If you're not in the present, you're not properly in touch with your own life force. So all manner of behaviours can come out of that, and certainly there's not a lot of happiness. So the important thing when you have become too locked into that inner position is to find something to relate to, which is easy because we are surrounded, firstly by the body, then the body by the clothes, and the place where you are, and the people nearby, the sounds and the smells and the textures. This brings you back to the reality of things, not just knowing that it's there, not just seeing or hearing, but allowing those sights and sounds and knowledge to actually impinge, so that you reach yourself out and touch them with your being. This is where Taurus can be the strength that we need. The reality of the moment is what supports us in our internal discoveries. The full moon will be on the 25th of April, and the pattern shown in that chart is quite different. Lots more Taurus, the personal planets connecting beautifully with the bigger pattern, the moon very close to Saturn, and the North Node in Scorpio. So I feel that a lot of what rises in the first 2 weeks of this month will actually be able to find a resolution. Our struggles will make more sense and have a better place in the second half of the month. We love you just the way you are. Only you come between your heart and the joy of life. Open the door with your open mind and let the sunshine flow through, bringing clarity to the beauty in what you see. Judgment discolours the truth, as argument obscures it. Let go of needing to hold the truth in your hand. You are the truth, as is all existence. Accept and be with what is here, in this space, now. Softly the joy will dawn that you have arrived already, that you never really left, and all creation will rejoice to be in your company again. Just be yourself, relating. Be love.